Okay, folks, so what we have here is a basic foam and vinyl installation. It's a real simple installation. You're just going to need a couple of basic tools. You need a circular saw or some type of saw that can cut some 2x4s, and a good sturdy drill, and a good sturdy staple gun. Basic materials you're going to need are some 2x4s, something to screw them down to the floor with. In our case, we're using Tapcon screws and drill bits because we're going into concrete, and some good strong staples. First thing you want to do is you want to cut up your wood so you can build a frame and attach it to the floor that's going to define the area where your mats are going to be. Once you got your wood all cut up, just go ahead and start attaching it to the floor. Again, we're just going to build out a very simple frame here, nothing complicated. We're going to pre-drill into the concrete in our application, and then use the Tapcons to secure it down to the concrete. Just continue moving right along through your installation of the wood, and you want to keep your spacing of your screws no more than a couple of feet apart. Basically what you want is you don't want this wood to start bowing inward when we start stretching the vinyl over it. And we're going to try and get the vinyl stretched nice and tight so it's wrinkle free. If it does start to bow in, it's going to put pressure on your foam, and then in time your foam can start to buckle up, and you get buckles and bowing in the middle of your mat, and nobody wants that. Clean the dust out of here, once you get done, just so you have a nice clean floor. And then you can start laying your foam in at that point. Really no rhyme or reason to it, just kind of get it nice and tight. Try and make good clean cuts, so you don't have any gaps and spaces in between your foam. Use a nice long bladed knife. Just kind of take your time, and we're kind of just rushing through this, just trying to get you guys through this tutorial before you lose too much interest and patience with us and whatnot. But you'll probably want to take a little more time, maybe measure things out. You can use a straight edge to get good cuts and mark it. And then when you get your mat in place, what we're going to do is we're going to show you two different installation options here. The first one is if you have an exposed wall edge, and that basically means if there's no pad or no trim or anything going on your wall that's going to hide the edge of where the mat meets the wall. Basically, we're going to do this installation so it gives you a nice, clean, finished look. You basically staple the mat down to the top of the wooden frame as close to the wall as you can get it. You want your staples to be, no more than an inch apart. We actually go back. We finish them where the staples are practically end to end. The more, the better, because you don't want this coming apart on you in time. It's just not worth it. When we install the wood in this application, you leave a little gap between the wood and the wall. That way you have a little space to tuck the excess vinyl down behind the wood, in between the wood and the wall, kind of like what we're showing you here. And that way you don't have any rough edges. And you take any type of trim. In our application here, we're demonstrating with a small piece of aluminum angle metal. We drilled some holes in it, and then that way the angle can tuck in between the wood and the wall, and then we just fasten it down with some screws. And this is going to do a couple of things. This is going to give you a nice clean finished look, and it's also going to help pinch and hold the staples down in place so they can't pop up and pull away from the wall. That's really important there. We want a good, strong installation that you're not going to have to worry about. The next installation method we're going to show you is if you have a hidden edge along the wall. And that means if you're going to have some type of wall pads or if you want to put a decorative trim or something up, then this is for you. Basically what we'll do at your request is we'll put grommets in the edge of the mat all the way across every 6 inches on the wall side of your mat. And then all you're going to do is you're just going to basically screw these down to the top of your wooden frame. It's real easy, a few screws in comparison to 100 or 200 staples, whatever it takes. But that's all you do is you basically just go along the wall, kind of stretching it tight, and then screwing it down as you go. Real simple. Once you got the wall edge finished up, then you can start working on your opposite edge from the wall, and basically just pull your vinyl tight and start tacking it down with the staples every couple of inches. Now, in our situation here, obviously we have a tiny little mat going here for a demo, but when you have your full-size mat, you're going to want to get a lot of tension on this vinyl. So it's really helpful if you have two people. One person kind of grab and stretch the vinyl, and then the other person can just, use a staple gun to push it down the last little bit and go across that edge, tacking it every couple of inches and getting some staples in there to get your installation moving. It's really nice when you start seeing it, start to come together and whatnot, and it gives you motivation to, take the time and energy to get a good, installation for the rest of the time. When you get to your corner, just basically, at the very bottom edge of your corner of the wood, just make a relief cut in the vinyl so you can take and tuck and fold your flap, just like if you're wrapping a Christmas present, and then tack that down with the staple as well, and continue down along this side. Now, again, what you'll be wanting to do is this entire time you'll be wanting to pull and stretch and really get that vinyl tight as you're stapling it down, so you have a good taut stretched mat surface, and go along that entire side. Go to your other corner and repeat the process with the corner at the very bottom corner of the wood. Just make a relief cut in the vinyl, and then fold it, tuck it, and tack it with the staples, just like as if you're wrapping a Christmas present. Now, on your last side, you can really start to kind of stretch and pull and get the vinyl tight. This is where it's really going to come in, because now you have tension on all your other sides, and you can really stretch it and start to get it good and taut. Work your way down, again, tacking it every couple inches. We have to come back and add more staples because we want a good, strong installation, but you get it tacked the whole way across, and that way you can move forward with the next step. Once you've got that all good and tacked, just go around with a razor knife and trim off your excess. So all you got to do is you just stick the knife down in the gap between the wood and the floor and just kind of use that as your guide and run it across. It trims off real easy. No big deal at all. Just be careful. Take your time at it. Don't rush. Make sure it's in that gap between the wood and the floor so you don't end up cutting your vinyl up onto your wood or cutting over the top of your staples and releasing the vinyl. You don't want that. Now, usually your matte colors are going to be darker than what we're using here in this white. So a lot of times you can actually just leave it like this and it doesn't look unfinished like ours does, because you can see every little bit standing out on the white. But go back and now you can start really filling in the staples. We want them, very tight. We want them almost end to end across the entire perimeter of the mat. I mean, it's worth it to spend a little extra time here making sure you get enough staples in, opposed to having to worry about trying to repair it if it pulls apart down the road. It takes a little bit extra time, but if you can enlist a friend or two or whatever it takes for you to remain patient and see it through the whole way, it's worth the effort of getting enough staples in here. Definitely not the part you want to shortcut. And again, as you can see right here, we definitely want them, end to end, especially as you get towards the corners and the edges and whatnot. You don't want a shortcut there. Now, once you got that finished up, you can also start looking at trim options. You can put a nice wood trim on the outside of that. You could put a metal trim on there. You can put a little corner round or corner bead like you see at the bottom of baseboards often. This can even be painted the same color as your matte vinyl to match. It just gives it a real clean finished edge. We're not going to attach that now because, again, this is just a demo mat. We're going to tear it right back up, but it gives you a fantastic finished edge, and it really helps hold those staples in too. So it's structurally helpful as well. Now here's your example of where the grommets in this installation type are hidden by the wall pad being used. So we hope this video was helpful, and good luck with your mat installation.